Gentlemen, infidelity doesn't announce itself with obvious clues and careless mistakes. It operates in shadows, disguised as innocence, defended with explanations so reasonable that questioning them makes you feel paranoid. Some women have mastered the art of maintaining double lives with such precision that months or even years can pass before the truth surfaces, and by then, the betrayal has compounded into something far more devastating than the affair itself. These aren't random acts of deception, they're calculated strategies built on understanding male psychology, exploiting trust, and manipulating the very foundation of your relationship. Whether the affair is emotional or physical, the methods used to conceal it reveal a level of planning that transforms casual lies into architectural deception. Before we expose these strategies, hit subscribe, smash that like button, and drop a comment if you've ever discovered something that made you realize the truth had been hidden in plain sight for far longer than you imagined. Your story might help another man recognize the pattern before it's too late. Strategy 1. The preemptive accusation. Why are you being so distant lately? This strategy involves her accusing you of the exact behaviors she's engaging in before you have any reason to suspect her. She questions your faithfulness, notices you're different, or expresses concern about emotional distance, all while she's the one actually pulling away. By flipping the script and making you defend your loyalty, she accomplishes two things. She deflects any suspicion from herself, and she gathers information about how you think, what you'd look for, and what would make you suspicious. The manipulation works because it exploits your natural inclination to reassure someone you love. When she expresses insecurity about your commitment, your instinct is to prove your faithfulness, explain your behavior, and demonstrate through increased attention that her fears are unfounded. But the trap is that her accusations aren't rooted in genuine insecurity. They're reconnaissance missions designed to understand how you process infidelity so she can avoid those exact patterns. Notice whether her accusations align with any actual change in your behavior or whether they appear from nowhere. Have you actually been distant, or is she projecting her own withdrawal onto you? If she's suddenly concerned about things that haven't changed, she's creating a narrative that justifies her own behavior or redirects attention away from hers. Watch how she responds when you reassure her. Does your explanation satisfy her concerns, or does she keep pushing, keep questioning, keep finding new reasons to doubt you? If reassurance never seems to be enough, she's not seeking comfort. She's testing your defenses, learning what excuses work, and establishing a pattern where you're constantly proving yourself while she operates without scrutiny. Pay attention to whether these accusations coincide with increased privacy on her part. Does she express worry about your faithfulness while simultaneously adding passwords to her phone, spending more time away from home, or becoming vague about her schedule? This contradiction reveals that her accusations are projection designed to keep you defending yourself while she hides her actual behavior. The psychological mechanism is projection as deflection. By accusing you first, she creates a defensive dynamic where you're explaining yourself rather than questioning her. She's reframed the relationship as one where your faithfulness is in question, which means any suspicion you might develop later gets dismissed as retaliation for her concerns about you. You've been positioned as the suspect, which makes it nearly impossible to investigate the actual crime. The long-term impact is a relationship where you're constantly proving loyalty you never compromised, while her affair continues unchallenged. You're so busy demonstrating your faithfulness that you don't notice her lack of transparency. You've accepted the premise that your behavior is questionable, which means any attempt to question hers looks like deflection. She's created a dynamic where suspicion only flows one direction, and that direction keeps you under scrutiny while she operates freely in the shadows you've been conditioned not to examine. Strategy 2. The transparency performance. I have nothing to hide. This strategy involves ostentatious displays of openness that are actually carefully curated performances. She leaves her phone face up on tables, tells you her passwords, gives detailed accounts of her day, and makes a point of showing you she has nothing to hide. But this transparency is selective and strategic. She's showing you exactly what she wants you to see, while the actual affair happens through channels you're not even aware exist. The manipulation works because obvious transparency creates the illusion of complete honesty. When someone appears to be an open book, scrutinizing them further feels paranoid and insulting. But the trap is that her transparency is theater. She's deleted the incriminating evidence, uses apps you don't know about, and has created separate communication channels that her performance of openness never includes. Notice whether her transparency is genuine accessibility or curated presentation. Does she hand you her phone freely, or does she unlock it first, check something quickly, then hand it to you? That micro moment of checking before handing it over reveals she's screening content before your access. Genuine transparency doesn't require preparation. Performed transparency needs a security sweep first. Watch what forms of communication she emphasizes in her openness. Does she show you text messages while having entire relationships in Instagram DMs, Snapchat, or hidden apps that auto-delete messages? Does she give you her phone password while conducting the affair on a work phone, a secondary device, or through platforms you've never thought to check? Her transparency is limited to channels she knows are clean, while the actual communication happens elsewhere. Pay attention to whether her detailed accounts of her day include verification opportunities or just narratives you can't confirm. Does she mention specific people, places, and times that you could verify, or are her stories detailed enough to sound credible but vague enough that checking would be impossible? Skilled liars don't tell sparse stories. They tell elaborate ones that feel true but contain no checkable facts. The psychological mechanism is creating false security through selective disclosure. By being aggressively transparent about controlled information, she trains you to trust her completely, which means you stop looking, stop questioning, and stop verifying. The performance of openness becomes proof of faithfulness, and any lingering suspicion feels like your problem rather than a legitimate concern. The long-term impact is misplaced confidence in transparency that's actually compartmentalization. You believe you have complete access to her life because she's shown you her phone, told you her schedule, and appeared completely open. But you've only seen the sanitized version, while the affair exists in spaces you didn't know to examine. When the truth eventually surfaces, you'll realize that every moment of her transparency was managed, every display of openness was curated, and the access you thought you had was actually permission to view exactly what she wanted you to see, while the real story unfolded in channels you never knew existed. Strategy 3. The routine disruption excuse. I'm working on myself. This strategy involves framing behavior changes as personal growth, self-improvement, or new interests that justify schedule changes, new social circles, and increased privacy. She joins a gym, starts a book club, takes up a hobby, or commits to professional development, all legitimate activities that conveniently require time away from you, new relationships you can't verify, and explanations for why she's suddenly unavailable during hours that previously belonged to the relationship. The manipulation works because personal growth is socially encouraged, and supporting it makes you a good partner. Questioning someone's self-improvement journey makes you seem controlling or insecure. But the trap is that her growth isn't about becoming better, it's about creating legitimate cover for an affair. The gym membership she suddenly needs provides 3 hours of unaccounted time. The book club introduces friends who are actually him. The professional development explains why she's texting late at night. Notice whether her new interests produce visible results or just convenient absences. Is she actually reading the books from book club, showing fitness progress from the gym, or developing skills from her new hobby. If the activity exists only as an explanation for being gone but produces no tangible evidence of actual participation, it's not a hobby, it's an alibi. Watch whether she encourages your involvement or guards these new interests as personal space. Does she invite you to meet her book club friends, suggest you join the gym together, or share what she's learning? Genuine interests are shared. Fabricated interests require separation. If she's defensive about you participating in or even knowing details about her new activities, they're not about growth. They're about creating untouchable time. Pay attention to whether these new routines have specific schedules or conveniently flexible timing. Does her gym session happen the same time every week, or does it shift based on when she needs to be away? Does book club have a regular meeting schedule you could verify, or does it happen at various times that always seem to conflict with couple activities? Inconsistent timing reveals that the activity is adapted to the affair's schedule, not the other way around. The psychological mechanism is weaponizing self-improvement as unquestionable justification. By framing changes as personal growth, she makes opposition or skepticism look like sabotage of her development. You're trapped between supporting what appears to be positive change and recognizing that these changes are systematically removing her from the relationship. The long-term impact is watching someone disappear from your relationship behind a shield of self-improvement you supported because questioning it felt wrong. You encouraged her gym membership not knowing it was providing time with him. You praised her commitment to book club not realizing the friends she mentioned don't exist. You supported her growth while it systematically created the space for her to maintain an affair. And by the time you realize the truth, you've been complicit in creating the exact conditions that enabled the betrayal. Not because you were negligent, but because she weaponized your desire to be supportive into permission for behavior you didn't know was happening. Strategy 4. The emotional withdrawal reversal. I feel like we're in a rut. This tactic has her initiating conversations about the relationship feeling stale, distant, or routine, while she's already getting excitement elsewhere. She frames herself as trying to fix things, but your efforts to improve the relationship simply give her more time, space, and excuses to continue the affair. The manipulation works because she appears proactive and concerned, while you look like the one who let things decline. She raises valid issues couples naturally face, and you respond by planning dates, giving her space, or trying harder. Actions she then uses as justification for her increased absence. Watch whether her concerns lead to real mutual effort or just more distance. Does "we need more excitement" turn into shared adventures, or does it become her excuse to seek excitement without you? If every discussion about improvement results in less time together, the problem isn't stagnation, it's an affair. Notice whether your solutions ever work. Do date nights make her happy, or does she always find something wrong? Does giving her space lead to reconnection, or just deeper withdrawal? If every solution gets replaced by new complaints, the complaints aren't real, they're cover. Pay attention to her investment. Is she working on the relationship too, or only critiquing? If she diagnoses problems but avoids participating in repairs, she's building a narrative that shifts responsibility to you while protecting her secret. The psychology is leveraging normal relationship dips as justification for behavior she doesn't want to admit. Routine becomes proof the relationship is failing, giving her moral cover to seek fulfillment elsewhere. The result is you exhausting yourself trying to fix something she already walked away from emotionally. You plan, invest, and try, while she uses that very effort as evidence you weren't enough. When the truth is, she was sabotaging the relationship while maintaining an undisclosed connection with someone else. Strategy 5. The friend cover. You'd really like her, she's great. This tactic hides the affair by integrating the affair partner into your life as a harmless friend. She talks about him constantly, shares innocent-sounding stories, and even invites you to events where he's present. The open visibility makes the relationship look safe while allowing the affair to operate right in front of you. The manipulation works because questioning her friendship makes you look jealous or controlling, especially when she seems transparent. But the openness is strategic. Normalizing his presence removes suspicion and gives her unrestricted access to him with your silent approval. Watch for disproportionate attention. Does this friend dominate her conversations, time, and emotional energy far more than any other friend? When one friendship becomes a primary relationship in everything but name, it's not platonic. Notice whether you're included meaningfully or only in carefully curated group settings. If your involvement feels managed, not natural, you're seeing a performance meant to legitimize the connection while keeping you away from anything revealing. Pay attention to her reaction when you suggest spending more time with this friend. If she talks about him constantly, but avoids real integration between you and him, she's protecting the dual life. The psychology is simple: hiding in plain sight. Making the affair partner visible removes the secrecy that usually triggers suspicion. You can't fear what she shows you openly. The result is realizing later that you socialized with, heard stories about, and even trusted the person she was betraying you with. The transparency you thought proved honesty was actually a cover for deception, and you were unknowingly helping normalize the relationship that undermined your own. Strategy 6. The digital fortress, I need my privacy. This tactic builds strict digital boundaries justified by privacy and autonomy. She adds passwords, uses privacy screens, takes calls in other rooms, and deletes messages instantly, framing everything as healthy independence and accusing you of trust issues if you ask questions. The manipulation works because privacy is a legitimate need, but she uses that truth to create a shield you can't challenge without seeming controlling. The issue isn't healthy boundaries, it's secrecy built to hide an affair. Watch when these boundaries appeared. Has she always been this private, or did it start suddenly after years of openness? Did it grow gradually, or did she lock everything down overnight? Sudden, non-negotiable privacy often means something changed that needs protecting. Notice what she protects specifically. Is her phone off limits but her laptop open? Are texts hidden but emails not? If privacy is selective, she's not guarding general autonomy, she's guarding specific conversations. Pay attention to her reactions. Does she overreact when a notification pops up near you? Does she turn away, cover screens, or flee to another room to read messages? Extreme defensiveness signals she's protecting content, not principles. The psychology is simple: weaponizing healthy relationship values to justify unhealthy secrecy. By invoking trust and autonomy, she makes your reasonable concerns look toxic. The result is that you respect her privacy, while she uses that respect as cover for betrayal. Later, you realize every lecture about your trust issues was actually a way to keep you blind while the affair continued. Strategy 7. The intimacy manipulation. This strategy works by managing physical intimacy so you don't notice the affair through changes in your intimate life. She keeps the same frequency to avoid suspicion, introduces new techniques learned elsewhere as personal exploration, or explains reduced intimacy with believable reasons, stress, hormones, needing emotional connection, while her intimate energy is actually being spent with someone else. It's manipulative because these excuses use real, valid concepts about autonomy to hide illegitimate motives. You can't question her distance without looking like you're pressuring her, so you accept explanations that aren't true. Watch for patterns. Does her desire drop after long absences, gym sessions, or girls' nights? Do her stated emotional needs ever lead to reconnection, or do the goalposts move forever? Do new preferences or boundaries appear without explanation? Over time, you end up doubting yourself and trying to fix issues that were never the problem. The intimacy didn't disappear. It was redirected. The cold bedroom wasn't about decreased desire. It was about divided desire. And every conversation about it was designed to manage your perception while the affair continued unnoticed.